everyone, this is Helen from Craft Atelier.
Hi everyone, this is Chen and welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Craft Atelier. Now, as from the video you will see, this is probably going to be the end of November when we launch this, and our Christmas decorations are up. Those of you who have been with us for a while, you know I'm kind of like a Christmas. I really love everything Christmas.
Obsessed with Christmas.
Yeah. She would say I'm obsessed, Christmas freak basically. So we would have started playing Christmas carols and Christmas decorations.
Someone who celebrates Christmas for 2 months a year.
Yeah. Oh, only 2?
2 that is allowed in the studio.
Yeah. She only allows me to celebrate it 2 months. But yeah. Anyway, this month we have wanted to actually chat a little bit about color gradient yarns. Really because towards the end of the video we'll talk about a new partner that we just brought in. Balls of Joy, and Eileen owns Balls of Joy, and she represents Scheepjes, right? It's a Dutch brand, Netherlands, right, from Netherlands, and they're very known for their yarn cakes, which is a gradient colored yarn. But maybe before we introduce those yarns, let's go to this concept of color change and gradient, because I think in the last video we spoke about striping, tonal, variegation, and I think a common question that we get a lot is how do you have colors in projects? Because I think the most common way people know to use colors is like you buy different colored yarns and then you use them in your projects. Yeah. And so let's start with that, right? The most common. If I buy different solid colored yarns and then I do a project, then how do I get color in the project? How do I play colors?
So this is one example of color work. So you can see there's a dark background that I choose, okay, the teal background.
Then you can talk.
Okay. Then the patterning, the motif is in a gold yellow color. Right. So you use this as a way to distinctly show the motif. Right. So if you're using 2 solid colors, this you'll be carrying the yarn throughout. Some points you use, some stitches you use color A, some stitches you use color B. Right. So this is one way to do color work where you carry the yarn, so the inside actually looks slightly messy.
Because you have the floats, where the yarns
so whenever you are using color A, color B will be just carried behind the stitches. Then when you use color B, color A will be behind.
So you have the knitted version. Let me show everybody the crochet form of color work. So just this top part of this bottom part of this shawl.
So this one is
you would see a mosaic. So this is a crochet mosaic. So this is the front side of the project where you see the pattern. And then if you flip at the back, actually you just see like rows and rows of as if there was no pattern, as if it was just like regular rows, like regular stripes. And this is the back. Yeah. And in fact, when most people start working with colors in projects, like when I first started, before I knew how to do mosaic, this was really my way of doing colors. There's just distinct stripes of
But
colors.
Because mosaic has a certain patterning effect, so you work with only one color at one time to create a design. So you're not doing just blue and red and blue and red. Yeah. So that one is slightly different, but you get the idea that you are changing color as you are working.
Yes. So I think for people who are quite new to color, I think color work scares people off. Like when I first started working with colors, I kind of did things that are more like that. Like actually you cut the color, right? And then you don't have to carry it at the back. You work like one section, like a few rows in, like in this case, orange, and a few rows in red, and a few rows in silver, then a few rows in green, so on and so forth. So that's the basic kind of like working with
So
colors.
the concept of color is just you need to have the colors on hand, the colors that you want, and you choose when they appear.
Yeah.
So you make the decision of round 1, I want color A, round 2, I want color B, and you slowly change your way through the colors.
Yeah. So then that's if you're working with yarns that are like solid, not just one solid
Generally,
color.
yes.
So you have the really basic one, which is just sections of it, or you can do them in color work, like really color work in terms of stitching color work, like in Intarsia, you're saying?
Intarsia,
Mosaic,
fair out, brioche is also
it's a form of color.
So there are different techniques that you could use to incorporate multiple colors
from solid colors.
But there are also ways where you can use yarns that already have multiple colors. So like even this sample, if the gold I choose to use non-solid gold, I use a variegated color that is in contrast with the background color, it can also show off a nice effect.
maybe we just grab the Ang Ku Kui colorway. Yeah. So for example, if Hui Lian had used the Ang Ku Kui colorway from the hand-dyed yarns, this would recall last month we talked about variegated colorway. So this is an example of a variegated colorway. And if you use them instead of gold.
So I would see the gold, the red, the green, gold, red, and green, and you'll be in different spots.
Yeah. So that's one way of working with colorworks, variegated yarns in a colorwork stitch. So now you have color changes in your yarn and color changes as a result of the stitch. Of course, you can also be look at her pattern. The color work more cheap, more sophisticated. For me, I also got use color work in the traditional way where I have one section is A, one section is B. So this particular top is actually made up of different mini skeins of indigo skies from Scheepjes, and basically each skein actually has color changes. But I wasn't that at that point. I wasn't that good at doing color work. So what I did was I did like the top. I did the front part. I cast on. I used one mini skein. Then I went to the next mini skein. Then I went to the next mini skein. Then the next mini skein. Then the next mini skein. So you would see, if you hold it up, you would see actually solid stripes a little bit, but each stripe is actually not very solid also because there is color change in every stripe.
So within each skein, you have color variations.
Yeah, which allowed it to like have this gradient effect lah. But actually, you can still tell that the gradient effect, there's still a point where the gradient changes.
So that kind of so-called colorful yarn is not a very multi-colorful yarn. It's more
tonal.
like more tonal or half solid, where there are certain points that are darker, certain points that are lighter, and you see the color change within that block.
Yes. Yeah. So when the last color was because indigo is like shades of blues and then some of it is greens, right? So when I ran to the last skein, then whoops, no more blue already lah. I finished all the blues already. So then I had to put in the greens. So you can actually tell like it kind of breaks the effect. And I think it makes it clearer that actually there are chunks. There are actually sections of colors here. But it's nice because it is actually just an indigo top, like indigo plant, indigo dyed top. So this is one example. Another example. So we're kind of like getting into working with yarns that are colored. So maybe another example of my tonal yarns, commercial. So to be fair, variegated yarns and tonal yarns are not just hand-dyed yarns, right? We have commercial yarns that are in. Helen says this is a bit like microstriping, right? And you also have those that are just variegated. And even if we talk about milk cottons,
so all this have a lot of colors in them that appear sometimes randomly, sometimes very regularly, depending on how the manufacturer does it.
Yeah. But one thing about these would be there will be a repeat of the color. Like for example, this one it will go yellow, and then it will go back a few rows later, a few stitches later.
Because this one has so many colors, it's literally the rainbow. So you might have 6 colors inside, and the 6 colors might repeat itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it might come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It will come back. No,
but it depends on the color order. It might not come back as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 4, 1, 2, whatever. Then it comes back again after a cycle.
But you know that you will keep getting back the yellow at some point. It will appear like you do a few stitches, whoop, the yellow is back.
Yeah. So depending on your pattern, if you are looking at the same width pattern, then the color change is very regular because you are not having a very different number of stitches per round. Right? So the color change is a bit more regular or expected.
So you can have regular or staggered.
But if you're working on, let's say, a shawl that is increasing in number of stitches, then it might break the repeating expectations a little bit, where the repeat still appears, but the same color may not appear in the same neighborhood. Harder to predict. I guess.
So then you would have less pooling effect. Pooling is where the same color kind of concentrates on one
stack
spot.
up on the same area.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So then the next question that when we talk to people about this, then they will see this sample of something like that. So maybe that. So we go back to just now that mosaic thing, right? So the bottom is mosaic. So the top, then when we pull down to the top, then people ask me, then Chen, how do you get this where you get from light green to dark green? Then this is when we tell them, you either need to use a soft blank or you need to use a gradient cake. Because they are dyed in the colours are arranged in a certain way such that you start with colour A, and then you work your way through to the last colour, but you actually never go back to colour A again. Colour A is only at the start of the ball or start of the cake.
And color A gradually fades.
Yeah.
And then you have color B gradually setting in. And so it might be 4 strands, 5 strands, depending on the yarn company. And then you may have 4 strands of color A. Then slowly it becomes 3 strands of color A, but 1 strand of color B. Then after some time, it is 2 strands of color A, 2 strands of color B. And then left with 1 strand of color A, 3 strands of color B. Then eventually when the last bit of color A goes, you have color C coming in. Yeah. And then slowly
it's a bit like, sunset or sunrise. Like the sky doesn't immediately take on a color, it like slowly eases through that color. So those can only be achieved through, you either have to dye the yarn in like you have to use different strands, like different plies, applying it in the different colors differently, or you actually have to dye it such that the dye seeps in, right? Like a blank,
so
where you dye one end and
you can use a sock blank where the yarn is knitted up into a piece of fabric, and then you add the colors in gradation. So as you are mixing your dyes, you can mix dark purple, lighter purple, very pale purple, then slowly transit to blue to something. So you can do that because you are the one adding the dye to the blank in a certain gradation. So you are creating your own color gradation.
Actually, at one point we had Sweet Georgia yarn sock blanks in the shop. So then that's actually the gradation. I think we would, in time to come, Sweet Georgia has recently refreshed their color collection. So in time to come, we'll probably be restocking on some of their stuff, and you can have a chance to see the sock blanks. But otherwise, right now, what is common is yarn cakes. Because actually sock blank, when to use a sock blank, you actually have to like frog it up and use it as you go.
Yeah.
Or you can frog it completely, wind it into a cake and use it as a cake form. So when you wind it into a cake, it actually looks like your gradient yarn cakes, right? Where you go from one color and then you basically move out through to the other colors. So just to say, this is the Scheepjes world. They're actually one of the quite well-known yarn cakes, and I think probably the leaders, right?
They are the ones who
started this concept
off
first,
with the concept, and people started knowing about this type of color arrangement.
Yes, and how you can work with it. Correct.
So when people start working on a project, they start to see,
picking up the sample.
Yeah.
So for example, this is the cake.
Yeah. So if you work from the outside of the cake, you will start with the beige color, right? Then slowly you get to yellow, and then you start to see
pink,
the pink,
purple, teal, and then the last one is like a dark grey.
Yeah. So you start to see the
So you'll notice,
purple, teal.
yeah. You never get back the yellow again. Like once the color is done, it's done. It doesn't come back unless you use a second cake of the same colorway. Then it will come back again. Or they have created it such that it will come back again.
There are some yarn cakes that repeat itself. So you have maybe 3 colors and they repeat once or twice.
They fade back
within the cake.
So if you had started from the center, started from the brown, the dark grey / brown, then you would basically be doing starting on this end and going.
Yeah.
So this is if you do row by row by row by row. If we had done a triangular shawl, so like the one that we showed, the green one, so this is actually their Christmas make along from 2021. This is their Crimbo Limbo set. Started off with a yarn cake in the center. I started with the dark green, went down to the light green, and then the mosaic was done with 2 solid rollets. So one of the interesting thing about the world is that they have matching solid rollets, small cakes, so you can actually match them.
Yeah, because sometimes
oh yes, we can show that first.
one cake may or may not be enough for your whole project.
One cake is about, the cotton one is 1,000 meters, but if you take the world fine art, which is the merino wool, you can actually get less yardage.
About 400.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah. So like this bolero, we
start with the gradient one first. Okay, so not quite go it up, but start from the gradient section. Yeah. So you would see this went from teal to like a light grey to a dark grey. So basically the teal is here, then it went to a light grey, then it went to the dark grey. Okay, the reason why it repeats is because Hui Lian actually, if you remember from the knit along, this was knitted in the round. Then we seam up the 2 dark grey edges basically. Yeah, but Hui Lian didn't have enough. Yeah, for her bolero.
I didn't think it would be enough with just one row.
Yeah.
So this section here, this section,
this mosaic part, more stitch
part is about 4 inches wide. It was done in a solid rollet.
Yeah. So like when she bought this, they gave her like matching she has a choice.
So there are colors that you can choose to say. They would usually give you the info. What are the
colors
that match with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it will be one or two of those colors that appear in this, and I could choose a solid wallet that matches, and so I could add to it to create this.
Like extended,
yeah, it's like an extended gradient effect.
Correct. So they try to make it like seamless so that your projects actually would match. And so the difference with working, I guess, with let's show another triangular shawl. This is another whorl. So of course this is a crescent, well, kind of crescent. It's not triangular. Crescent.
So this one you start from the center.
Yeah, the brown
or
like khaki. Yeah.
And then it slowly goes into the grey, and then the orange, and then
you end off with the fringe, the beige.
Yeah, the beige color.
Yeah. So in a sense, this works very well for patterns where you like you don't do it for a top with sleeves because maybe your sleeves you need to use wallet.
No. So what some people do, so there are, if you think of simple construction, let's say top down work, right? You may go, how like that? If I work on the sleeve, then the sleeve different color. So what some people do is they use two cakes. So when you use two cakes, you literally start and you alternate the cakes. So cake 1, cake 2, but the colors are the same, right? Then you work top down. So when you separate for the sleeves, you have got the armhole done, and then you work down the body also in two cakes. So the color gradation stays. And then when you're done with the hem, your color ends at the same point in the cake.
Then one for each sleeve.
Oh, okay. So then you can have matching sleeves. You don't have to have one sleeve darker color, one sleeve lighter color.
Correct.
So that's what you can do.
That's one way. If not, is you can use the whorl for the body, and then use the wallet. Just use the wallet for the top, for the sides, the sleeve. Or in Huilen's case, she don't like attaching sleeve. She'll just find a pattern where it's like you sleeve and shirt all at the same time. That works. Yeah, that also works. So there's always that option per se lah. Then of course people sometimes worry a little bit about I think if you're quite new to yarn cakes, I guess shawls and scarves are a good way for you to see how the color goes rather than starting with the top, because the top is a lot more work. The other one that people have done in this studio, which we don't have a sample right now, is weaving. Because when you ask us about weaving, when you use variegated yarns, you will have this like plaid-like look. I mean, we showed in the previous video. But if you use a yarn cake, you actually have the scarf gradients the color gradient goes from one corner to the other.
And because
it's very subtle also,
it's very subtle. So depending on your color yarn choice, because some yarn cakes have colors that are more contrasting, so the color change is more distinct, right? But some yarn cakes very gentle color changes, and so the color tones and everything very close, very soft. So we had one customer who come in with pastel yarn cake. It was soft yellow to soft green to soft blue to soft purple. So it's very pastel, and the color gradation is just very gentle.
What we'll do is we'll try to find a picture of it. It's actually posted on Instagram like yonks ago. This was before COVID. Just before, because she finished her project just before COVID. Early 2020s. So I'll see if I can find a picture, and then if I do, I'll insert somewhere in this video, somewhere maybe over the Christmas tree for a while. But yeah, so I guess there's a way of like playing with colors, and I think if you've been knitting, crocheting, or weaving for a while, sometimes introducing something like that can be quite fun. Okay, so maybe at this point we should like really recommend our partner, Balls of Joy. We've actually invited Eileen to be on this video, but she can't. Maybe we'll have to ask her to send us a picture, then I will put her in the picture somewhere. But the reason why we've chosen to partner Eileen is because actually two of us do buy a lot of Scheepjes. Yeah, we do. And actually we have been buying from Balls of Joy ourselves. And we liked it quite a bit, and so we've been recommending it to people. So customers have asked us to try stock it in the shop, and we feel the best way is rather than to bring it in ourselves and then have to then we become another competitor to Eileen. We felt partnership is the best way to work with people that we love and brands that we love. So now the whorls are available in the shop. Eileen Balls of Joy basically stocks them here. And we like them because they're a good way of playing with colors. And personally, I like it because they have a lot of free patterns. They have a lot of designers, they're brand designers. and they have patterns that really bring out the colors of
They
this
also
cake.
have partner designers
Mm.
who offer a lot of interesting designs on how to use all these different yarn cakes with different features in
and
their
how,
designs.
how to bring out the best of the colors that they have. So they're very known for their color gradient cakes. But I think the other thing that we also want to say is they also do solids. So you would know Indigo Skies is a series of indigo collection yarns that they do. I think Eileen was telling me that she doesn't, this is usually on a pre-order basis. So if you're interested, can let us know.
Yeah.
But one thing about working with Indigo is that you need to know that, of course, compared to their commercial dyed ones, they're not, you do need to expect some degree of, like when you work with it, your hands can get turned a bit blue.
Because if it is naturally dyed,
Mm.
naturally dyed yarns are typically not as
Colour
easy
fast.
to, not necessarily not color fast, but it's a bit more challenging to get rid of excess dyes.
Okay.
Because when you're washing, as much as they want to, they
They
might
can't.
not be able to get rid of the excess dyes in one wash or
Okay.
in two washes. And with manufacturers or yarn makers, right, it's a bit challenging to say
Wash
wash 10
multiple
times, you know, before you send the yarn out.
That's useful. I thought for a while I was like, it's because my project. But to be fair, after when I knitted, when I knitted this, my fingers did get a bit of dye colors. But actually, in all the times that I've worn this, I've actually not had the color fade out.
Yeah, because indigo is a very permanent dye. I mean, you have your jeans, it takes a while.
Yeah, you actually have to like scrub them real hard to get the wash to.
Yeah. So they actually destroy the jeans
Just
after
to get
they
the
are
wash
made
look.
just to get the washed out look. So indigo is very color fast. But in order to get your indigo to a point where it doesn't
Transfer to your
have
finger when
dye
you're
transferring
working.
it, you take a few wash, just like your new jeans.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Actually,
When you
rub
wear,
your new jeans, yes.
you get the blue
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes. So actually, if you're interested in this Indigo series, you can get in touch with us or with Eileen from Balls of Joy. Just tell her we suggested that you get in touch with her. Because I think this part she was saying she had a bit of trouble trying to help customers understand that this is actually what's happening. So if you're not sure, come in and chat with us. We'll reassure you. The other series that she has is the Katona. We've worked with this before. We've done the blanket, the Rim Booms blanket before, several years back.
That one
And
was
we sold both actually.
yes. I still have half the kit that I got
Okay.
because it was a 99 ball kit,
Yeah.
and it was 99 balls of
Mini.
10 grams, 10 gram balls.
Yeah.
So I used about half for the Rainbooms
Project.
project, but I still have
You
about
should make
half
another
left
one.
because I split them, the brights from the dollar ones, so I have still the dollar ones.
I used the Stone Wash collection for that same Rim Booms project, and I used all of my Stone Wash.
But I had 100 ends. to sew.
Yeah, but she hates the sewing in of the ends. But anyway, the Katonas.
Yeah.
So
So a lot of people love these for amigurumis.
oh yes.
Because they have a very, they are mercerized, so they feel very smooth, and they are very comfy for holding and hugging, and they look very good.
This is the amigurumi that Eileen made. Then she loaned us a couple of her amigurumis for our Christmas tree, of course. See? So this is the that she made for the Katona, and also the twinkle. So the sparkle that you see is the twinkle,
This is the twinkle.
right? So in this case, Eileen used the solids for the main penguin itself, but used the twinkles for his accessories. Yeah. And actually, as part of the launch that we're doing for Balls of Joy here is Eileen has very kindly done a lot of gifts. So there are like lots of stitch marker, Christmas stitch markers that you can get, 30 sets, we still have some. But more importantly, she's put together a Katona set, like this color range. Because actually Katona has a lot of colors. And it's hard for you to then choose like what you want to use, especially if you're quite new to it. So because we're launching, she's launching her partnership with us towards the end of the year, we came up with this idea of picking these colors and to make ornaments that you can do for your Christmas tree. So Hui Lian has actually designed a series of ornament patterns. In case you all don't want to do bigger ones like the penguin that we just shown, because in Asia our tree is usually smaller. Yeah. So we designed the smaller ones. So these are your standard Christmas baubles. Then of course if you want the larger size ones, Hui Lian has them in larger size.
So these ones have a plastic bubble
Yeah.
inside that you're just basically crocheting a cover for them.
And the plastic baubles come from Daiso.
Yeah.
So
Whereas these
confirm
ones
affordable.
are more like amigurumi. You stuff them.
Stuff them. Then Hui Lian also made these other ones which are flat. And you know what's interesting? I need 2 hands for this. There's a pocket inside. So for those of you who have young children and need a pouch for Tooth Fairy, this is also always an option.
You could also make multiples of this and use this as an advent calendar.
Yes,
Because
you can also
they-
put like mini stocking stuffers and
Yeah.
hang them on the tree.
Because you could have treats inside, and then as if you have Christmas parties,
Yeah.
then you could have your guests collect one each at the end of the party.
Oh
and
no,
they
or you
will
do
open
Christmas gift exchange. You put the number of the
Yeah.
price, the present, right? Then like lucky draw, you never know what you're gonna get. So anyway, this is the color set that Eileen's done up. So there's these three bright Christmassy looking colors. Of course, your traditional red and greens, and then we have the orange and the yellows with a white twinkle.
the silver.
Silver twinkle. And also what we are going to do is if you buy this set, so Eileen has made the set and has given an offer on it. Hui Lian has done up some Christmas ornament patterns, which we are going to give away if you get these sets.
So the ornament patterns would be
The bubble
the bauble, the
the
tiny
pouch.
bauble, the pouch,
and the bubble wrap.
yeah, and so these three designs, the patterns will be
Included in the set. And actually, I'm also set Hui Lian more homework. She's working on Chinese New Year ornaments. Because I'm pretty sure you won't finish all of the yarn in making Christmas ornaments.
It doesn't take a lot.
It doesn't take a lot of yarn. We still have quite a bit of the set that we opened up. So now Hui Lian is working on Chinese New Year. In 2019, the year of the pig was already 19. Yes, 1919. Hui Lian actually did like a Chinese New Year wreath. Wreath. And so she had a 小猪猪 on it. Next year is the bunny year. So she's been set homework. Maybe she can make bunny out of the sparkle. And then make more ornaments. So then actually you can make Chinese New Year things also with the same set of yarns. I think that's the purpose for us for Eileen choosing the orange and the yellow also.
Yeah.
The gold. So that there's a chance to move towards a Chinese New Year pattern as well. So yeah, so these are available at the shop. We're really happy to be working with Eileen. It really gives us a chance to bring together people from the local, like the other, our counterparts in this industry. I mean, we've always said this from our first video to now. We've always been about building that partnership and collaboration and community. And so we try our very, very best not to find ways to work with people first.
Yeah.
And so if you are yourself one of our counterparts, or you are looking to, you have your own fiber connections and you'd like to bring them to Singapore, we certainly welcome you to get in touch with us. We can chat about what is the best arrangement for you. Every partner that we have their unique needs. We always try to strive towards a win-win kind of arrangement with everyone. We think that that's really the way to grow. And I think recently the event like Fiber Flock, just bringing everybody together and celebrating what we love about knitting, crocheting, everything yarn and fiber related should really be the direction we want to. Everybody should go.
And we always look for things that we ourselves don't have or don't carry, but customers ask, we recommend. And so with Eileen on board, we are able to bring in a series of yarns that we didn't have in the studio previously, but we always recommend to customers. Because for beginners to work on a big project, we always recommend something that is fairly manageable, simple, but it also means that it could be very repetitive because we don't want them to be dealing with very complicated patterns. So if you're making a shawl and the shawl has got 20 repeat rows, that's not simple because every row is different, and then you go from 1 to 20 and you come back to 1, right? So that's not what we would recommend. We might recommend something that has got 1 row repeat or at most maybe 6 row repeat.
So playing with colours is a way to keep it fresh.
Yeah, because otherwise if you do every row the same, and then as beginners, if you're working on a big project, it can be very monotonous, right? So working with something like the yarn cakes makes it more interesting because every few rows,
it does. Makes it a lot more.
Yeah, every few rows you anticipate and you look forward to the color change because hey, my grey is getting lighter or my blue is getting more purple, so it makes it fresher.
It's another milestone now. You're getting to another milestone in your project.
And you know that you're progressing. It's not like, why is my shawl still looking so small, right? So that is something that we always recommend. And now, because Eileen is on board, she has also left a series of color cards with us. If you're looking for other Scheepjes products, and you have, because mostly seen them online, you're not too sure what the color actually looks like because on the monitor it looks a bit strange. come into the studio and you can take a look at the color cards, right? And then you can compare the colors, because there was one other thing that we did not mention, and that is how can you get a color gradation from solid colors? And you can. It just depends on the color availability of the brands. If the brand has enough colors, if you have, say, 80 colors in your range, then very likely you can select the colors to get your own gradation, and the gradations would not be abrupt. It would be gentle changes.
So like this, I mean, in the Indigo Sky series, they don't have a lot. I think they only have 10, but it's actually close enough that if I remove out this green one, right, it does. This section does look like a normal gradation.
Like you can create your own fades.
Yes, correct.
So
with 99 colors confirmed.
Yeah. So you just need to have enough colors to let you have the selection. Whereas some brands only have that 10 colors or 15 colors, then
it's more limited.
Yeah, because if you only have one red and one yellow or one green, you can't get a fade effect very
I think that's what Sweet Georgia also was trying to do with their new color collection, is to be able to choose the colors to, well, I guess the thing is you can't have unlimited number of colors, and for hand dyers it really doesn't, it's not easily justifiable to have a lot of colors. But what Sweet Georgia has done with their recent color refresh, I mean, Felicia talked about it in her video, was to actually pick colors such that you can create fades, but you can also create non-fade color changes.
So there is enough contrast in the selection of the basic colors to give you contrast, to give you a gradual change, so that you can get your own fade set. So that's behind their color conceptualization.
So I think every brand has very different philosophy when it comes to colors. So it's not like, oh, because this brand has less colors, then they are not as good as the other brand. But it's really because as a company, what do they want to? Some companies have less color options because they want to provide a range of fiber options. Because you can't have everything. I think that's something we need to help everyone understand, which is no one business can do everything.
And no brand can supply the yarn that every knitter, every crocheter wants. It's just not very possible.
Not realistic. So I guess that's why it's important. It goes back to like coming together as a community. We all serve different niche groups, but we all know what everybody's niche group is. So like when we are not able to support you because it's just not the area that we are focused on, we then direct you to the right folks who can then support you. And I think that's really how this community can continue to grow and enrich over time. Yeah. So I guess that's it from us. And if you have any questions, feel free to message us, drop a comment, come and speak to us in the studio.
Hop by and take a look at the colors.
Yeah, you can come and touch all the Christmas ornaments. There's so many cute ones. There's another like tooth one, which is it's a bit out of the screen right now. But there's so many, and we also have ornaments that Alex had done. Alexandra, what's her last name?
It's French.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, it's one of Louis's friends. Louis from Bangkok Kitties did sell ornaments, star ornaments from last year. So we've just been collecting and adding it.
So when you use hand dyed yarns for ornaments like this, even though it's the same colorway, you get a lot of interesting minor changes in the color.
So come and visit our tree just to justify, just so there are more reasons to put it up for 2 months. Come and see the yarns and the gifts, and just come chat with us. We have so many colors and stuff in the shop that it's a fun place to be. So I guess that is it, and we'll see you. I'm not sure if we'll put up a video for December.
We'll see.
Because December is quite a busy month for us. It always is towards the year end.
So probably not anywhere near the start of middle. If anything,
it'll be towards the end when things are winding down a little bit for Christmas. But we'll see. If not, we may just see you in 2023. Yeah. All right, everybody. See ya.